welcome back to Soul and Self Collective. I'm Alyssa Tice. I am a baby Hmong shaman, and we're both marriage family therapist trainee. This is.
And I'm Scott. I am Liz's Husha, also known as the shaman assistant.
Yeah, he's my shaman assistant. And this week's video, we're going to talk about the people that you lose along the way and also the people that you gain along the way. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I've been reminiscing a lot about the beginning of my journey. And I'm still at the beginning, of course, but before I had a lot of tribulations that led to me where I stopped looking at my relationship with others through a rose-tinted glass. So what that basically means is that I stopped looking at relationship for how I wish them to be, how we're just seeing the best part of that person and not taking into account of all the other things that they are consciously choosing to do in the relationship. And I'm not talking about just a romantic relationship. I'm talking about like platonic relationships, such as family, friends, coworkers, bosses, and you can't just X them out, right? You can't burn the bridge, but you can develop your boundaries around that person. So when you take away that rose tinted, beautiful glass away and see them for what they really are, you're meeting them at a place that where they're at, and you should be able to identify your needs and your expectations, right? Of course, when you're in a relationship, you really shouldn't have expectations from others, but there's basic expectations that one would request, which is reciprocation of affection, right? If you are vulnerable and you are trying to get to know the other person, but they're very standoffish, they're only nice to you when they need something.
Very conditional.
Yeah, it's very conditional. And so you should be able to look at that and really take a step back and should be able to see the other person for what they really are and meet them with where they're at, right? And just hold the expectation of knowing what you want in that relationship. And if they can't if they if they can't give you that relationship, there's really nothing you can do, right? And so you'll just have to, one, either wait until they're ready to heal and be able to meet your needs in a way that they can do it now. Keyword can do it, because an unhealed person, no matter how much you want them to treat you a certain way, if they don't have that capability, they're not going to be able to do that. They're just not.
And I would say that's one of the things that I've always struggled with is being very open with people and getting upset when it's not reciprocated. So I feel like, as the saying goes, wearing your heart on your sleeve. But then when you start to feel vulnerable with other people and they don't reciprocate that, you start to wonder, why are you being vulnerable with these people, and do they deserve to see that part of you?
Yeah, that part right there that Scott just shared with you guys, not everybody deserves your trust. Not everybody deserves to be in your inner circle.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
your most intimate, vulnerable piece of you. Not everybody has that fast pass to have access to you,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't.
And not saying you shouldn't have relationships with other people, but you don't need to have that intimate relationship with them. They don't need to know about your life or what you're doing or anything like that. They can just be someone you casually see and just say hi to.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. And I also want to mention just a quick side quest note about survival mode. I understand, like I was sharing earlier, that some relationship you really can't draw those type of boundaries, but because you're in survival mode, right? What that means is that you are in a dynamic with somebody that you cannot leave that relationship or draw strict boundaries, right? Because they're not reciprocating or behaving in a way that you want the relationship to be like. And so you're in survival mode. What that basically means is that you're like a chameleon. You're just molding and bending yourself to survive that moment, that so that you can survive that interaction with that person. That's completely okay. Just know that that type of relationship shouldn't be a forever thing.
Yeah.
It should be a very finite period of time. It should not be an extended with no sight in end.
Yeah. Don't be like me, where I just adapt to every situation depending on what the person wants or what I can get from a person. It's something that I got while being raised and pretty much by myself and trying to get to know people, but it's bled into my adult life too, where I still do that people pleasing tendencies part of it and try to get people to like me by using, as you said, the chameleon way and
Mm-hmm.
using what I know they need and saying what they need to make them feel good, to make them feel comfortable.
And why is that a bad thing? It's because you start to put your own needs in the back burner,
Yeah.
which can lead to burnout and a loss of identity. You lose precious time of your own important time.
Yeah.
You are important. Remember that.
You are, and surround yourself with people that genuinely want to be there with you.
Mm-hmm.
If there's conditional reasons why they're with you, or if they're only there because you went to their party or you went to their event, so now you feel like you have to go to their event, that's a conditional relationship,
Yep.
and you don't need to have those.
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
Because I was thinking about a particular person that I'm not going to say, but
Do it.
if you know
Oh,
who you
sorry.
are, because that person does watch our video, love you. But love should not be conditional. It's that simple. It should not. If you truly love someone, it should be unconditional, and you should be able to support that person no matter what. And support does not mean enabling. Okay, if someone has an addiction issue and you're like aiding them for that addiction, that's not love, that's enabling. And one should be able to support them by encouraging them to go receive professional help or loving from afar. But I also wanted to talk about that the people that I did lose at the beginning of my journey, which were people like my parents. We became estranged for a brief period of time due to family issues. I even lost I don't know if it was lost on their side, but definitely from my side, I was.
These are hard to talk about.
These are very hard to talk about because they're it's not me sharing someone else's story, right? Because that's a lot easier and more free flowing to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's admitting out loud. I came to realization that that's not the type of relationship I want with that person. That is not how I want myself to be at the forefront. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have to hide myself, right, to appease someone.
It's
And
very
so
true.
I was losing that part of my identity. And so relationship was lost for a brief period of time. It wasn't like we were enemies or that I burned bridges with them. Like, I hate you. I don't ever want to talk to you again. It's not like that whatsoever. But it was that letting things be natural where there's natural estrangement and I wasn't doing anything to prevent it from happening anymore.
Yeah, because before it would be very like reaching out, trying to do everything we can to make sure the relationship doesn't go anywhere, but it
Mm-hmm.
felt very one sided. We were putting in all the work, but the other person wasn't doing anything. And when you stop putting in the work, that's when you realize what's happening.
Yes. Yeah. When you stop trying to hold that rope, right, to hang on to them, you just let it go. You'll notice that that rope is just naturally glides off
Yeah. And if they're meant,
because you're the one holding onto that relationship.
yeah. And if the relationship's meant to be, they'll come back
They will.
and they'll start putting forth the effort because they
Mm-hmm.
realize that it is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to say that the people that I did for that period of time lose that relationship because I stopped looking through the rose-tinted class, right? Holding on to that rope really tightly. I started a new foundation with my parents, with the other person, and I'm just letting things grow naturally. It's like after a land has been burned and there's new growth, right? And so
Yeah.
that's how I see relationship with my own circle of people.
And I will say, I don't have any more friends from my childhood or from my past. All the people that I know now are people that I've met along this journey, because the people from my past just weren't around. We either moved, had distance between us, or just didn't connect anymore. And that's okay. You don't need to hold on to those relationships, but you shouldn't also prevent yourself from meeting new people that are along the path that you're going, and opening yourself up to them if it feels right.
Okay, that made me think of my own situation because I know that so a lot of my relationship, I would get burned by them. I would overly compensate for the relationship where I am overly eager to make them want to like me, right? Give them reason
Yeah.
to want to be around me, reasons that would make them laugh and make them have a great time. I would do that a lot. And so, with what Scott just shared, it made me think that of my own situation where it's hard for me to trust new people, especially if they're like overly nice or they want
Yeah.
to become friends with me. I start to get like almost that PTSD where like I'm like, oh,
When are you gonna leave me?
when are you gonna leave me and what do you want from me? Like,
Yeah.
what's your motive? And so it took me a while to like ease off from that and just really meeting people with where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if someone genuinely comes to me and wants to be friends and just be really interested in me, why deny that opportunity for connection? That's when an unhealed person, such as myself before, comes to a situation like that, it can be very hard to give trust, especially when all of the memories are from that lack of reciprocation
Yeah.
or um, being burned. But if you give that opportunity a chance to let that relationship bud and grow, genuine connection can come from that. And that's actually something my teacher, she taught me that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she was the one who shared that philosophy with me because I confided with her about like being very hesitant and nervous about people just all of a sudden coming up and becoming really interested in me, especially since I've risen as a shaman and it's gained a lot of perked up interest from family members and it's made them want to have more conversation and connect more. And for someone like me who's been burned a lot by relationship, it makes me wonder their motives. But it's not healthy to lead with that.
I think it goes to, you can't control what the other person's going to do,
Mm,
but you can control how you view and interact with that relationship. And as long as you have good boundaries and you keep yourself there, you can respond in a healthy way, the way you want. And if they respond in a different way, that's okay. That's up to them. And you don't have control over that. And that's perfectly fine. But you know where that relationship is going to go from there. And you can set those boundaries up with yourself.
yeah, absolutely. So lately, as the months are coming closer and closer to my second level of raising, I've been really reminiscing about the people that I've gained along the way, which is my teacher, Tassie. And wow, she is such a bubbly, bright, very funny, safe person to be around.
Yeah.
I think it's really rare to find that type of person where you just immediately connect. And I think that's also a very spiritual thing that when you have your sifu, right, your teacher, and your peers, it should feel like an instant connection. It should.
Yeah.
At least for me, it did. And it really makes the process of going through this shamanic path a lot easier because you really do encounter a lot of very um, scary, strange, bizarre, creepy
Yeah, and it's nice having
things.
that group of people that you can talk to about that and
Hmm.
not be worried about what they're going to think or being judged, because you guys are all going down a similar path. So if someone is being possessed, or if someone is being haunted or having struggles or being attacked by people that are doing mean things to them, they have somewhere where they can at least talk about
Hmm.
it and feel safe.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think that a year ago, to like not today specifically, but with this month was when you did your shake test.
Was it?
Yeah, August of last year.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised you remember that.
Yeah,
I don't even remember that.
it was a fun trip.
But I mean, for like the peers, what Scott was talking about, like the whole possession things and whatnot, us as peers, we can't really do anything about that.
Moral support.
Moral support. Okay. I'm just trying to give a little caveat to that disclaimer. Peers are not there to help you when you're possessed. Go seek your teacher when that happens.
Yet, yet, when you guys are all masters, you guys can help each other.
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe. But when we are all masters, me and my peers, it is nice to know other shamans, trusted shamans that I can go to
Yeah,
should I need help.
yeah,
And what you said is actually very true. I not just have my teacher, you know, but I also have my other peers that we've grown together through this path and go to them if I need help. And we're all master level shamans.
yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of my peers, I've been thinking a lot about them recently, especially because I'm about to be a level 2 with them. I'm so excited.
I
And
know.
I
It's been a
know,
wild 6 months.
yeah, and I know they're really excited for me too. And I just kind of want to take a moment to kind of talk about them. And I remember the first time when I attended one of my Sifu's ceremony in California, and it's so beneficial for a baby shaman to witness their Sifu in an actual Onning ceremony, but like actually seeing them go to a client's home and doing the full ceremony, that is so beneficial. And that is where I've actually met my first peer. And they seemed so nervous, and they came with their significant other. And I was also nervous in kind of meeting someone else because I didn't know what to expect, right? Because here all along, I've thought that all these mystical, spiritual, supernatural thing, I thought that was just in my head, and it was just some fantasy that society and people tend to tell um, gifted individuals when they are inclined to share things. And so I wasn't sure of what to share and how to be. But I just allowed myself to naturally be myself. I remember asking if they felt anything in the home, and then they're like, "Oh, kind of. Do you?" And it felt like I was with my sibling, like actual blood-born siblings, where we're like somewhere new, and they're like, "Did you notice that?" Or like just really sharing about things that you normally wouldn't share with people who you're not close with.
Yeah,
But there was just that natural gravitation to share those spiritual things. And when we were able to share more of our own experiences and what we were feeling and whatnot, it really, at least for me, it really perked up for me to really feel comfortable because I realized that I wasn't alone, and that, and I think it was just that simple. I wasn't alone.
yeah. You can have these conversations with people. There are people out there that want to have these conversations.
Hmm.
And it was refreshing literally being in a house with everybody that just wanted to talk about that topic. And
Yeah.
it was a breath of fresh air.
So my first peer that I met, it was such a funny and freeing experience for me, especially me. I don't know if Scott, you felt that way,
Yeah.
but for me, it did. And it was nice to know that I wasn't alone with like sensing the supernatural field and being really interested in that type of mystical type of field in general.
Yeah.
And then I met my second peer. They, I invited them over to my home before my raising, my first level raising, because I wanted to get to know them
Yeah.
before, so that they didn't feel like, like an outsider. Because apart from knowing our seafood, they didn't know anybody else. And so I really just wanted them to feel comfortable, especially since they lived really close to me. And so I met them and they came over, and it was such a beautiful experience and also really sad because I got to hear their story and
What they were going through.
what they were going through,
Yeah.
feeling their energy. And it was just, again, more people that's coming into my circle that I'm realizing that's giving me momentum of I'm not alone in this process, right?
Yeah.
Because being a shaman, it's a very much you're alone in this path. You go into the spirit world by yourself. No one else goes with you. And what you experience, sometimes you can't share everything. And so it can be a very lonely path. But then when you have people, other shamans, I don't know how the elders are, but I know for my little group of peers, we're we're able to share with each other with what we're going through, and we rely on each other. And so when I had met that second peer, it felt like there's that deep kinship, right?
Yeah.
And then the third peer, unfortunately, had to meet them at my first level of raising because I never got a chance to really meet that person before, because it the I didn't even know they were another peer until like a few weeks before my raising, and I just never got a chance to connect with them, which I feel so bad about. But um, it was fine because at my raising, the first peer is actually related to the third peer, and so they weren't alone, if you understand what I'm saying. But when I did meet that peer, they were absolutely hilarious, and it it was like we've known each other all of our lives. Like it's just such a bizarre explanation of how fast we've all just clicked and grown really comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, especially when we go to like when we all collect ourselves and we follow our teacher to go to ceremonies when she does come to California, and we all go with her to watch her oning. It's not that we're a clique, but then we are all that we know. And so we really just really trust each other and help each other in pointing out and noticing things that's happening in the ceremony, and exchanging notes, exchanging wisdom, things like that. And so it's very helpful for a shaman to connect with their peers.
And then if they ever do need help, or if they need a shaman assistant, or if they need something from us, you know that you can reach out to them, and that more than likely they'll be there to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that feels nice.
Yeah. And I want to lastly touch a bit about how outside of the Hmong community, I was so surprised by how welcoming other professionals were of my religious, spiritual beliefs. Everyone is just so respectful and so curious of it as well. And so I've had professors, peers from my college, and even at my practicum site everyone is just so welcoming and so curious about shamanism.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to share with what I know so far with them. And to me, they're such minuscule information, but they're so bewildered and wowed by it. And it makes me feel so happy and proud to be able to share these type of basic knowledge outside of the Hmong community to like other communities. That was a really neat experience thus far.
And other than us documenting this on YouTube for our children and our grandchildren to be able to watch and experience it with, we also built this as a way of building a community. And I will say so far, it's been very successful. We have a really good community. People are talking, people are asking us questions, and it feels nice to be able to go through this experience with you guys. And that leads to finding your community. Find the people that you connect with, that you enjoy being around, that you enjoy talking to. And if you can't find it, it's okay to try and build it. And that's what we were doing here, is trying to build that community, because outside of your peers, we didn't have one.
Yeah, that's very true. I think this would have been a very lonely journey if it was just me, you, and my teacher.
Yeah.
I'm really happy, honestly, really happy for my three peers that I have here in Cali. You know who you are. And their significant others. Oh my gosh, I cannot stress about how important it is to also get to know your peers' significant other, or the whoever their shaman assistant is,
Yes,
because all that support, like, you just become a family. You really do,
absolutely.
right? In the reality that we're in, it's so nice to just take off the mask that society expects you to be, and you can just be who you are, like the full 360 of you around those people. It's very nice.
Yeah, it is very nice.
And I really hope that you get to experience that with what Scott says. Yeah, really find your community, and if you don't have one, create one. I
Yeah.
encourage you to make a YouTube or go create a blog or something and find like-minded people to connect with. And I think it's so like important
Yeah.
to, have your tribe, you know?
Share your stories. They're worth sharing.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, your stories, they are so important. And nobody's going to know it if you keep it to yourself.
Exactly.
So hopefully you have the courage to go and, share it too.
Yeah.
You will be surprised by how much support and how like welcoming and opening people are. And that's something. Take it from me, someone who is very distrusting of others. And so
this was a therapeutic journey for you as well.
mm-hmm, yeah. And so maybe you're wondering, like, well, Liz, I'm kind of like you. I don't really trust people. Like, how did you do it? And something that really helped me was really working with the person that's in front of you and not the person that's inside your mind. And because when we are left to ourselves, we overly imagine things, especially how other people may react, or we may anticipate how they're going to behave. And if you just let that thought go of how you're preemptively thinking how they're going to respond or behave, and you work the person in front of you, it's going to change that dynamic so much, especially with how the relationship will grow, right? Especially with how you engage with them as well.
Yeah.
And that's something that really helped me with someone who is very distrusting of others. And that preemptive thinking about how others are going to respond, behave, and communicate with you, those lead to like emotions such as fear, right? Or anger or resentment or sadness. Things like that, those are our natural survival mechanism that we need, right? But try not to use that so much as like, oh, I'm angry, so I must be upset or not like that person,
Mhm.
but instead utilize that emotion that you're feeling as a compass, as a guide internally, and self reflect rather than reflecting that emotion outside to that particular person. Utilize those emotions for more inner reflecting. And I want to say that making this video has been really hard for me because it's a lot of heavy topics, especially for myself, like sharing all of these, because these are just things that I am trying, do as I say, not as what I do. Well, I'm trying to do what I'm saying. Right, but it can be so daunting saying out loud and like, wait, am I doing that? I think I'm doing that. Yeah, I can share that. It's not the pot calling the kettle black, right? And so I'm trying to just really share something that I've learned thus far on my spiritual journey and my healing journey, and hopefully it gives you a Mario shortcut to not have to endure it before you get an epiphany. But I want you to be able to envision the type of relationship you want with somebody. And like what Scott said earlier, do what you want, extend however you want that grace, that love, that kindness towards that person as your heart desire, right? I'm not trying to say don't be nice, don't be kind, don't be overly gracious if that's who you
Yeah.
naturally are. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm saying do it without expectation of they needing to have to return that to you. Because with when you don't have that expectation, when you do it, it doesn't hurt you. And when you're realizing that they're not reciprocating, that gives you cue. That gives you so much communication of how that person is envisioning their relationship with you. And that's moment for you to self-reflect and maybe take a step back.
Yeah, pull that boundary back a little bit. Don't reach
Yeah.
out as much. Still do what you
Mm-hmm.
want to do, but know where that boundary is now.
Yeah.
And there's no issue with bringing boundaries back, pushing boundaries out, depending on how the relationships are going. Boundaries should be very
It's flexible.
fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shouldn't just be this is my boundary, I'm going to stay here forever. It should just be as they start to communicate more and start to engage more, push it out and start giving them a little bit more. If they start to withdraw, bring that boundary back.
So what this basically all just mean is that don't do all the work. It
Yes.
takes both sides to make the relationship work. Romantic, platonic, relationships in general. Any type of relational dynamic, it takes two to make that bridge for you both to connect with each other. With that said, that is a wrap for this week's video. Next week, we're going to share a bit about our little mini vacation that we've taken time off from our practicum site and school. School, we don't really get to say, but we're transitioning to fall, and so we got a little break, and we've taken advantage of that and taken a little bit of time off. And we just so happen to have Scott's parents coming to town, so we're going to be visiting, or we're not visiting them; they're visiting us, and so we're going to be spending a bit of time with them. And then, if you notice the glasses, I usually do not like wearing glasses, which is funny because as a child, I always wanted to wear glasses because I thought it was cool. And now I really hate them. Um,
But I'm forced to wear them because
because I'm getting LASIK done
in 2 days.
yeah, in 2 days. So
Yeah.
next time when you guys see me, hopefully my eyes don't look crazy, but I should be glasses free, contacts free, and I'm really excited. Something that I've been looking forward to, just seeing my natural eye color, which is something I never thought I would say, but I really miss seeing my eyes.
Yeah. So when this video drops, that day this video drops, someone's gonna be getting new vision.
Yes, and I can't wait to share with all of you of what we've been doing. And so
Yeah.
hopefully you guys will tune in our next week's video, okay?